What else? Why is it important that I teach you the story behind these planets? What is the purpose of a story? Where do we get story? What does it do? To help you understand. Absolutely. Human beings really can understand lessons, outcomes with a story. The story is sort of what makes us live our life and understand. That's why we gossip, that's why we share things. Where is the first story?
Your birth and how you're born.
Okay, the first story is actually the story of your conception.
That's right, the broken egg.
Not everybody knows what the story of their conception is, but if you don't, go ask your mom and your
That's
dad.
how I remember how she described it, the broken egg.
Okay, that's exactly what I have on the thing, on the
Yeah.
on the slide, is that broken egg. Your parents may not know. The other day I had someone who goes, I remember the exact moment where I conceived my daughter, because I was doing the chart for her daughter, and I said, oh, you know, in this story, Black Moon likes to be on top. And she started laughing. She goes, I remember when I conceived my daughter and I was on top. She remembered, and it was in the girl's chart. The mother was hysterical. So, first is conception. Next part of the story is what?
0 to 7.
No, what comes before that?
The 9 months.
Your pregnancy. Everybody has a story in pregnancy. You should find out what that is. Third is the story of your birth. Were you fast? Were you slow? Did you have anesthesia? Were you C-section? Was the tube tied around your neck? And then the fourth story, which we all know, and the one that most therapy is built on, is the 0 to 7. What happened when you were 0 to 7? Why 0 to 7? It's because the personality and the ego is formed by age 7. Most beliefs, we have our body, we have our values, our brothers, our sisters, our home, our parents, those first 4 houses in astrology, is built by the time we're 7. And now we have been given the story or the narrative of our life. That story from 0 to 7 is a one you're going to repeat over and over and over and over again for the rest of your life. That in astrology, which we're not talking about today, is Saturn. And it looks like an age that's on your chart.
I have
Yes.
a question. Okay, so why is it that to some parents, when their kids go off to college or become homeless or they do some stupid shit, why is it that to the parents it's a shock? It's like, I didn't instill that in them. I didn't teach you to do that. Because that's the issue with my mom and me. She's in shock of all the stuff that I've done. And she's like, I didn't teach you that. That's not the way I raised you.
That's a phenomenal question.
Yeah, why is that?
So it goes back to the shadow, Jung's word, or the bad bucket, my word. When your parents create you, conceive you, they give you these buckets full of shit.
Right.
Good stuff too, but full of shit. I did see the new It movie, by the way, and I thought of you. I was like, oh my God, it's my book. They had to go back to their childhood and confront their bad buckets.
Yeah.
That's ultimately, and Pennywise was their manifestation of their bad bucket. The one with the rape, the other one with the gay, the one with the nerd.
Hence the fact they share the blood to make it personal to them.
Right. And so I was like, I was not scared at all in the movie because I was like, oh my God, it's my book come alive. This is phenomenal. I was so excited.
I ate the little girl.
Is that what she was
That was
talking?
kind of like it passed.
Which part?
They were at some football game, the little girl.
Oh yeah, at the
She
beginning.
came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Well,
like,
they have to
come
do
on.
something gross, but.
Yeah.
So what Paula's asking is, why is mom so shocked? Because mom has not a fucking clue that in mom's bad bucket exists the possibility of all the stuff that you did. Our job as children is to manifest all the bad crap in our parents' shadow. So hopefully they can fix it. That's it. All we do, and every one of us in here is a child, all we do is actually bring to life the parent's shadow. But since your mother doesn't have the consciousness to recognize that that's her, that you are her, that you're just manifesting her shit so that she can look at it and say, oh fuck, I created that. Not that you're bad.
No, right.
Your job was to bring it to light for her. The other reason is your job is to not be like her.
Right.
We are not supposed to be cookie cutters of our parents. Meaning we're not supposed to do the exact same thing or the exact opposite. We're supposed to do what I call hashtag do it differently. We're supposed to do it different. You're supposed to live your life, not your mother's life or your father's life. Will you have similarities? Of course. But you came with your own purpose, with your own journey, your own chart.
I think that's where they mess up from the beginning, because they set the expectations. You need to be like me. You need to, like the speech I
Of
heard.
course. But have we been taught otherwise?
Like when I got pregnant with Jael, oh, you could have had a car, because I was 16. Could have had a car. You could have had paid college. You could have had all this. You could have been living at home like your stepbrother, just having a party life. Instead, you're changing diapers. I showed you the way. Why didn't you follow it? It's like, maybe I didn't like your way.
Exactly. Because all that their way is their beliefs, their truth that worked or didn't for them. You are not supposed to, at face value, be given. Did I ever tell you the story of the puzzle? The puzzle maker? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's in my book. It's a Kabbalah story. In the Kabbalah, there was this puzzle maker, aka God. The puzzle maker would make these beautiful puzzles every single day. And all the kids would run up to the window in the morning, and they would take the puzzle pieces, spend the day putting the puzzle together, and then the next day get a new puzzle and so forth. Well, one day the puzzle maker thought, this is the most amazing puzzle I've ever made. I'm going to give it to the children intact. Not the pieces, but already put together. The kids go to the puzzle maker's window, and they get it. And they're like, what fun is this? You did the work for us. We are here on a journey to self-discover. That is why we are here. You're not here to make millions. You're not here to have sex. You're not here to eat amazing food. You're not here to travel the world. Those are all byproducts of being in the world. But the function of you being here is self-discovery. Man, know thyself, and you will know the wonders of the universe. Huge oracle of Delphi in Greece. Every religion, every philosophy says it in different ways. It is a journey of self-discovery. Mom and Dad gave you the puzzle. What fun is it? You had to go figure out your own puzzle, your own pieces.
I never wanted their puzzle. Their puzzle was a fucking headache.
So some people, more Cancer types, people that are more sheltered, tend to want that puzzle and stick by the puzzle. And then their existential crisis is when all of a sudden what Mom and Dad told them isn't working and they fucking go crazy. And then someone like you says, I don't want your fucking puzzle. And your existential crisis is trying to figure it out the hard way and doing it all your own way. And that's your crisis. So either way, we're going to get it. Either way, we have to question those puzzle pieces. So your job is exactly what you've done. Now, has she listened? Has she learned? Has she looked to say, no, because she doesn't have the insight. And part of our job is to understand that our parents may just not get it. Our parents may just not get it. And they may just stay stuck in their beliefs, in their outdated values, what we think is outdated, and accept it and move the fuck on. But instead, because we're children and we want to be accepted and validated by our parents, please understand me, please, please look at me, look how great I am, I made all this money, I married the best guy, I look the right way, love me, love me, love me. She's never gonna fucking love you. Because you have come to show her the aspect of herself, her shadow, her bad buckets, that she is not ready or will never be ready to see. And so your job is to now live your life and say, that's just her. And that's part of the child's job. that's why. So my daughter wants to be a marriage and family therapist. Oh, mom, kids, and she loves kids. And I go, Sophia, you have to deal with the parents. That child is a product of those parents. And the parents are the problem. But the parents don't know they're the problem. So very common in therapy, especially in marriage and family or in family therapy, there is a patient. Someone in the family is the problem. And everybody in the family goes, and the problem patient is there. That's the role they took up. And everybody else is there to help that patient. Lies.
It's all them.
It's the whole fucking family, and everybody just took on their role like if they were in a play, and they're reading their lines. And it just happens to be that somebody took the role of patient. But it is a system that is broken. It's the system's problem. And so we have to sometimes just say, okay, this is the system that I was born into. Understand you're not broken, you're not the problem, you're simply manifesting, hello,
How do you live?
you're manifesting what the family can't see, and the patient oftentimes is the healthiest person in the system, which is the irony of it. And what happens is you are the patient, you're manifesting this problem, and it's in the whole family. Every single person in the family has that problem, just reflected in a different way.
I have another thing.
Yes.
So this weekend, I went off on her because I was like, I should have put Jay up for adoption. I wasn't ready to, monetarily everything. I was in jail when I found out I was pregnant. So I told, and Josiah was running around, and so I blurted it out. And she's like, oh, you need to take that back. He came to save you, and he's a blessing, and this and that. And I was like, I don't give a shit. The point is, my son should have had a better life in my eyes. And because you didn't give me that support, oh, no. Now you're blaming me because you had a son. No, I'm not going to take that. I was like, I'm not blaming you. I'm simply telling you that if I would have had that support, and I'd spoken to my brother about it, if I would have had that support, Josiah would not be with me. That's the way I feel. Oh no, because I didn't support you to have what's that called?
Abortion.
An abortion, yeah. I was like, and so what if I would have had an abortion? Like that.
So what you did, and where the crisis comes from, so whether it is a monumental existential crisis or a small crisis that someone comes to see you in practice for, is they violated their beliefs, or they violated their value system, or they violated their second house. She had a belief that she wanted this child to have a better life that she could not provide. That was what I hear her saying, whether it was through abortion or whether through adoption, there was a better option than her as the mother, the raising mother. Biologically, she's the mom. She violated that because she went, as we all do, to go find approval from our parents. No matter what age you are, subconsciously, you are always looking for your parents' approval. Always. It is something very, very, very difficult to untrain yourself from that. So, every single day that she sees this kid, or when something comes up, she can't monetarily afford him, she wants to buy him something and she can't, she fights with her mom, whatever trigger reminds her that she violated her beliefs and her value system and went to her mom's. And so that is just going to constantly be a reminder. I violated my beliefs. I violated my beliefs. I violated my value system. Because she chose the approval of mom and dad over her own belief system. Judgments and values. So I call it the Costco card. We all were born and we were given a Costco card. You know, Costco is a membership. You are a member of the Orozco family, a member of the Yahias, you're a member of the Williams, you're a member of the Beltrans, or whatever your last names are. And within that, you were given a body, a personality, a value system, brothers, sisters, and parents, and a home. Those first 4 houses, you can never change that. You can never, ever, ever go back and do that different. That's said. So that is so ingrained in you. It's what built you. Just like the milk that you drank, those values and everything is all intertwined. It's your psychological organs. So what happens? You go through life, life knocks you down, you might have an existential crisis, and all of a sudden, you're like, oh shit, I don't believe what my parents taught me. That's not the way the world works anymore. Life has shown me that that's not the way it works. Like Prince in his song. Why do you just leave me stranded? And he's like, Mom and Dad, you're supposed to be together, and I'm a product of you, and we're supposed to be a happy family. We all were fed that bullshit. Some of us, my kids learned at a very early age it wasn't like that. I didn't learn until 52 years later, my parents got divorced, that was like that. But we all have this awakening at some point that what our parents taught us about the way the world works is a big fat lie. That creates a crisis. So now we have to choose. Do I stay with the Costco membership, like Paula, and violate my values and my beliefs? And say, well, I'm going to believe it anyway. I don't care, even though this world has taught me that it doesn't work that way, I'm going to continue. Or, I call it Nordstrom's because that's my favorite store. Or am I going to go get a Nordstrom's card and do it my way? Hashtag do it differently. Am I going to say to the puzzle, fuck the puzzle? Now, Nicole is the other extreme. Granted, she's an Aquarius. Go figure, Aquarius is this, chaos. Not to mean that every Aquarius is that way, but...
No, just a special one.
You cannot, this is the other extreme of it, and this is important to teach clients, you cannot take the puzzle, you cannot take the buckets, good and bad, crumple it up, throw it all out the window, and say, fuck you, Mom and Dad, I'm going to eradicate everything you ever taught me. Why? Why can you not do that? Which is what she tried doing.
I still try.
I know, but you learned, and you will continue to learn that you can't do that. Why can't we do that?
The only conflict I have with it, like with Mom, I know I carry some of her traits, obviously, that I don't like. Do I try to do the opposite of it? Like with Eli and everything, I handle his way different than she handled mine. That's the plus side of it. But when it comes to Dad, like his whole, for example, chickening out, the biological dad, I noticed that in me. And I'm like, my first run to is like, well, this isn't working. I'm going towards the door. And it's, what else do I not know? So learning some of the traits now is like learning him in a way, because I don't know it. So now I'm figuring out.
And that's the purpose of the bucket. So I've got this 7-step model. Number 2 is, what don't you like about the person, place, thing, or situation that you're judging or criticizing? The minute you say, I don't like it because of this, it's in you. That's called mirroring. So you go to your handy-dandy bad bucket, to Dad or Mom or whoever, it doesn't matter, it all meshes together anyway, and you add that, checking out, blah, blah, blah. And when it shows up in your life today or 10 years from now, you say, oh, one of them had it. That means it's in me, and now I can work it.
It's still total chaos.
Well, because you're rooted on that. And when I tell the story, it's going to make sense. That's why every single person should know the myth, the story of their sign. That's the first thing I teach when I teach astrology.
So you do Libra?
Well, today we're only doing Pluto and Uranus, but we will eventually get to Libra, yes. And my daughter's a Libra, so I know it very well.
Oh, my son's
my
a Libra
God.
too.
Last night she called me, I wanted to die.
Are they always flip-flop?
I was like, yes.
Always.
Okay.
I do not
Always.
flip-flop.
Oh.
It's
not a
something
personal
you have to
attack.
flip-flop.
I was like, what?
As long
So,
as you know where you are allowed to
So-
can flip flop. I swear.
And
He's
the
a pure
chart will
Libra.
tell you in the sun in Libra, what house they tend to flip flop.
I'm gonna look that up for him because he's driving me freaking insane.
So why can't you just take all of it, crumple it up the way she tried, and throw it out the window?
Wasn't that?
Why can't you really rip up the Costco card?
Because we like the confusion. Because it's embracing you by all your conceit.
Yes, partly. What was the other
Because
thing?
we like the confusion and all that.
But why do we like it? Because we absolutely do.
I don't know,
It's like a
It's
strange
an
house.
orgasm.
Yeah,
It's a
like
psychological
yeah.
orgasm, yes.
Like we feed off of that thrilling, like something is like, oh, a drama in my life.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like you need it.
And you
So,
need it, but you
yeah.
need it like, you need it like you need food,
Yeah.
water, and air.
You're saying that we need pride.
Because,
Yeah.
no, you need to do as your parents said, even if you disagree with those beliefs and values, you can never 100% throw them away because they're the foundation of what you're built on. When you were getting your lechecita and your mom was feeding you, she was rocking you, and she was saying, oh, and you're a boy, and you're gonna grow up to be such a wonderful, handsome prince, and you're gonna have an amazing wife, oh, and you're gonna be an engineer, and that milk was feeding your body, and so was all that crap she was talking. And it was building you and building you. And when mom and dad had an argument about money, you were listening and you were, okay, money's important. I gotta fight for money. Value system. And when your brother and your sister were fighting and you're there in your little cunita or you're in your little playpen and they're fighting and your mom says, don't fight with your brother and sister. Family's the most important thing. You're listening to that and that is weaving into you. And it is part of your cellular makeup. And so first 4 houses, your body, your genetics, your personality, your value system, your brothers and sisters, even if you've never seen them because you were adopted or given away or they died, and your home, your mother and your father can never, ever, ever be eradicated.
Poor Josiah.
So-
I tell him we're all gonna die.
So he's either going to have a real zest for life, do it opposite, or he's going to be like, fuck this shit, we're going to die, party!
Yeah, exactly.
Like mom. Sorry.
So I have this client and her son is having panic attacks.
It's okay.
And he's adopted. And she calls me and she's like, my son's having panic attacks. She sends me a video and I see the kid in full-blown panic attack. And I look at his chart. I said, well, let me look at the chart and see what's happening. And he's got Uranus next to the moon. The moon is the mom, the moon is the home, the moon is the stability, all these things. And he's got this, what's called a transit going through and activating that archetype. And I said, he's in full-blown chaos. And what he's doing subconsciously is remembering that he was adopted and given away. The instability of losing mom and the home and the country and all the things that moon means. And she's like, well, I'm not around, it's my fault. I said, absolutely not. Even if you were home, even if you were the happy homemaker, even if he was back with his parents, his natal parents, that transit was still going to wake that up in that kid psychologically, and he would still be having this breakdown. I said, do not blame yourself. We blame ourselves. That's the beauty of astrology. We blame ourselves for shit that has nothing to do with us. It is simply something, an archetype that's being awakened. And I said, nope, you're not taking the blame on this. That's his biological mother, because at the moment of conception and then at birth, when he got his chart, that was her. You just happen to be the mother now. So you're not going to blame yourself, not on my watch at least, that you're at fault. This kid was going to go through this no matter what. I am in a major existential crisis. So my boobs are chopped off, I lose all my hair, my husband leaves, my 3 kids go away, I move 10 times, I started a new job, I'm depressed. That's the story. I could have been sitting in my house, my husband coming home every day, my kids young still coming home from school, loving my house, being in my own place, and inside, dying. Having an existential crisis when nothing on the outside has changed. We have all been in a room surrounded by hundreds of people and have felt lonely. Every single person has had that experience at least once. Because the crisis is inside. Has nothing to do with what's going on the outside. But the outside is the story. That's why we love story, because then we could put a costume and a name and a person and a location. And that's all that religion is. And this is not to affect anyone's religion. Every single religion, every single philosophy understood this. And they said, how are we going to teach people, like Shayla said, the lesson like Paula said? We're going to dress him up as a monkey. We're going to make him a man that has a halo. We're going to make him a Buddha that owns. And we're going to give him characteristics and features. We're going to give him a little story and a lesson at the end. And religion was born. That's archetypes. Buddha is an archetype. Jesus is an archetype. The devil is an archetype. We have all of those archetypes in us. That's the picture of the chart. So you have a devil in you, you have a Jesus in you, you have a Buddha in you, you have a Hanuman in you, you have a Lazarus in you, and all the stuff that's on the table is to just show you these are archetypes. These are the physical representation of all the psychological shit going on inside of you. But the world is so fascinating that it's going on inside of you, the chaos and the drama and all this shit. And I told you, I could be sitting at home and my husband never leaving and my kids never leaving and none of this ever happening and cancer never coming, and I would have still been dying inside. But, my theory, we create everything. What fun is it to have a storm inside? I have to create it on the outside. So now I made my story. Everything in my life fucking fell apart. Ah! Because if I come home and I'm crying and I don't have a story to tell you about why I'm crying, you're going to think I'm fucking crazy. So I have to create the story. And I made a big one. I mean, I lost it all. Fuck Dorothy. I fucking created a tornado beyond tornadoes. I said, Dorothy, I'm bigger than Dorothy. Fuck Wizard of Oz. Bitch is going to tell you a story. And when I start going, do, people are like, what? You survived that? Yeah, motherfucker. That's ego. But I created the story, because then what would I have to go and tell my therapist? What would I have to tell my kids why I'm crying? What would I have to tell the attorney or the oncologist or you guys? So we create a story to match what's inside. And so in astrology, I can say, this kid is remembering subconsciously being taken from his mother. The chaos of losing his mom when he was 14, when he was born, now he's 14, and it's activating. It happens to be that his mom is gone. His new mom, his adopted mom is gone. She's off, traveling. Oh my God, it's my fault. It has a fucking nothing to do with you. Egocentric. We are so egocentric. We think everything has to do with us. And I said to her, it has nothing to do with you. This is his chart, his life, his soul. You could be sitting right next to him. He's still going to have the panic attack. But it's internal. He has to create something, a story on the outside to say, look. And lo and behold, astrology is real, because since I said it's going to be a story that involves this, this, and this, that person created it. It's like, fuck, this shit's amazing. It's happening on the inside. This is all psychological organs. The thoughts fighting, oh my God, this, that. Has nothing to do with the outside. This weekend I did ayahuasca. You guys know what ayahuasca is? Ayahuasca is a plant medicine, and it's used in a Native American cultures. And you take this medicine and you kind of like hallucinate a little, and you're supposed to see your ego, and you're supposed to vomit and all this shit. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go do it. I had done it once before,
I love the idea.
but
Where was the invite?
I know, right?
I had done it once before, but it was non-eventful. I did see what I had to see, but that's that. This was a new experience, and